Objectives of this lecture is to understand process of mastication, process of swallowing also known as deglutition, and various applied aspects related to it. Mastication is mechanical process which breaks up larger food particles into small pieces. Chewing or mastication, it can be carried out voluntarily. But the process of the mastication is initiated usually reflexly following the arrival of the food in the mouth. So it can be carried out voluntarily, but when food arrives in the mouth, usually it is a reflex process. Chewing reflex is depression of the jaw as well as the elevation of the jaw, which results in grinding action over the food particle in oral cavity. It is known as chewing reflex. So when we eat the food in the mouth, it comes in the contact with the buccal mucosa as well as various receptors present in the hard palate, which produces inhibition of muscles of mastication, which results in opening of the mouth and lowering of the jaw. So because of this lowering of the jaw, mouth opens, which produces stretching of the jaw muscles. Now because of the stretching of the jaw muscle, it activates stretch reflex and it results in the raising of the jaw and closure of the mouth. So because of again this closure of the mouth, now food bolus, it comes in the contact with the hard palate as well as the buccal mucosa, which results in the inhibition of muscle of mastication. In this manner, depression of the jaw and elevation of jaw, it produces chewing reflex. Because of this chewing reflex, teeth, they come in the contact with each other, and this incisor teeth, they produces cutting action over the food particles, and the molar teeth, it produces grinding action over the food particles. So the larger food particles, they are converted into the smaller food particles which can be swallowed, and this reflex, it is known as chewing reflex. Muscles of mastication. Masseter muscle, it elevates mandible and helps in the clenching of teeth. Temporalis muscle, it raises the mandible and helps in the retraction of the mandible. Masseter and temporalis, they are supplied by mandibular division of trigeminal nerve. Pterygoids, there are two pterygoids, lateral pterygoid and the medial pterygoid. Both they protrude mandible and depresses the chin. This helps in the opening of the mouth. Both pterygoid together, it produces grinding movement, and they are innervated by mandibular division of trigeminal nerve. Buccinator muscle, it prevents accumulation of the food between cheek and teeth, and it is innervated by facial nerve. Functions of mastication. So the primary function of the mastication is that it cuts and grinds large food particles into small pieces. Now chewing process also increases salivary secretion, and it increases mixing of the food with saliva. Saliva lubricates oral cavity and it facilitates swallowing process. Chewing improves dental strength and dental hygiene, and the saliva which is secreted as a result of the chewing, it breaks down starch and improves taste of the starch containing food. So more is the chewing, more is the taste produced by the starch containing foods. Swallowing or deglutition is the process by which food material from oral cavity it is transported into esophagus. It is initiated voluntarily, but most part of it is involuntary or reflexive. That's why it is also known as deglutition reflex. It occurs in three stages: oral stage, pharyngeal stage, and the esophageal stage. Oral stage is the voluntary part, whereas pharyngeal and esophageal stage, they are the involuntary stage in the process of the swallowing. Oral phase of deglutition, it takes place inside the oral cavity after the food bolus is formed. So food bolus is formed when food mixes properly with the saliva, and all the larger particles present in the food, they are converted into the small food particles that can be swallowed. So first of all, the tip of the tongue presses against the hard palate, and then the body of the tongue presses on it. This action of the tongue moves the food backward in the oral cavity. So by this manner, the food bolus is forced into the pharynx, and the food touches the receptor at the pharyngeal opening and the swallowing reflex is initiated. Deglutition reflex. It is triggered by efferent impulses from tonsils, posterior pharyngeal wall, soft palate, and epiglottis. And all these informations they are carried by trigeminal, glossopharyngeal, and vagus nerve to the deglutition center in medulla, which lie near the respiratory centers, and various efferents from trigeminal, facial, glossopharyngeal, vagus, and hypoglossal nerve. They supply to the pharyngeal musculature and tongue and they initiate involuntary pharyngeal stage of swallowing. Pharyngeal stage of the deglutition starts when food bolus enters inside the pharynx. Now from the pharynx, food bolus it has many passageways. It can enter inside the nasal cavity, oral cavity, inside the larynx or in the esophagus also. But because of the deglutition reflex, fortunately there is elevation of the soft palate which prevents the entry of the food inside the nasal cavity. Position of the tongue as well as the approximation of the palatopharyngeal folds, it prevents entry of the food bolus again inside the oral cavity. Now vocal cords, they are approximated and it prevents entry of the food in the larynx and it produces deglutition apnea. Deglutitional apnea is the temporary cessation of the breathing during the swallowing process. And because of the deglutition reflex, it produces relaxation of the cricopharyngeal muscle and food bolus it can enter inside the esophagus. So now esophageal phase of the deglutition starts. The esophagus is approximately 25 cm in length. It is separated from the oral cavity by upper esophageal sphincter and it is separated from the stomach by lower esophageal sphincter. Upper esophageal sphincter, it is formed by cricopharyngeal muscle. It is normally shut off from the pharynx, thereby preventing swallowing of the air during the respiration. So normally during the respiration, air it cannot enter inside the gastrointestinal tract because of the closure of the upper esophageal sphincter. It opens reflexly upon swallowing for 0.2 to 0.3 seconds and it is under control of the vagus nerve. Lower esophageal sphincter or cardiac sphincter, it is the last 2.5 cm of esophagus which is sphincteric in action. This is not a true anatomical sphincter but this is a physiological sphincter. Swallowing or distension of the esophagus with food, it causes reflex relaxation of the sphincter within 1.5 to 2.5 seconds. And this reflex, it is mediated by myenteric plexus and vagus nerve which releases nitric oxide and vasoactive inhibitory peptide. Lower esophageal sphincter, it is also influenced by various gastrointestinal hormones like gastrin, it increases tone of the lower esophageal sphincter and secretin, it decreases tone of the lower esophageal sphincter. Acetylcholine, it can also increase tone of the lower esophageal sphincter. Swallowing of the food or local stimulation of the esophagus at any level it causes development of peristalsis. Once food enters inside the esophagus which is facilitated by the relaxation of the upper esophageal sphincter, the peristaltic wave or the primary peristalsis is initiated just below the upper esophageal sphincter. The peristaltic wave it travels at the rate of 3 to 5 cm per second and it takes about 10 seconds for the food bolus to pass through the entire esophagus. If the primary peristalsis is ineffective, a second peristaltic wave is initiated to push the food bolus. So after the food enters inside the esophagus, it develops peristalsis and this peristaltic wave it pushes the food from the esophagus into the stomach. So there are two types of the peristalsis observed in esophagus, primary peristalsis and secondary peristalsis. Primary peristalsis is initiated by the swallowing and begins when food passes into the esophagus from the pharyngeal cavity and it is coordinated by the vagal fibers. And secondary peristalsis is due to presence of food within the esophagus after the primary peristalsis is completed and it is coordinated by the intrinsic nervous system. So whenever food enters inside the esophagus, it produces primary peristalsis by which food enters inside the stomach. But even after the primary peristalsis, if the food is present inside the esophagus, secondary peristalsis developed which pushes the food inside the esophagus into the stomach. Now let us summarize the process of mastication and process of swallowing. Mastication is the process by which large food particles they are converted into the small food particles. During the process of the mastication, saliva is secreted by various salivary glands. Saliva contains various enzymes like lingual lipase and the salivary amylase. Salivary amylase it converts starch into maltose. After the process of the mastication, the food bolus is formed by the mixing of the food particles with the saliva. Now this food bolus it is pressed against the hard palate and this is known as oral phase of the swallowing and this is a voluntary phase. Then food bolus enters inside the pharynx and the pharyngeal stage starts, which is an involuntary stage. Pharynx contains various receptors in the posterior pharyngeal wall, in the tonsils, palatopharyngeal folds. From these receptors, glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve it sends information to the deglutition center in the medulla oblongata and it produces elevation of the soft palate and closes the nasal cavity, elevation of the tongue and palatopharyngeal folds, so food cannot enter inside the oral cavity, and it closes the laryngeal opening and prevents the entry of the food inside the larynx. Because of the relaxation of the upper esophageal sphincter, food it can enter inside the esophagus. Now inside the esophagus peristalsis occur by the primary as well as the secondary peristaltic wave. Food it enters inside the stomach. Lower esophageal sphincter it is a physiological sphincter, it is not an anatomical sphincter. So these are the various stages of the swallowing: buccal phase, pharyngeal phase and the esophageal phase. Buccal phase is the voluntary phase. Pharyngeal and esophageal stage they are the involuntary phase of the swallowing, and after the esophageal stage food enters inside the stomach through the lower esophageal sphincter. Now let us understand about the disorders of deglutition. Deglutition reflex it prevents entry of the food inside the nasal cavity as well as it prevents entry of the food inside the trachea. So whenever deglutition reflex it is absent or decreases, it provides entry of the food inside the nose and it increases aspiration of the food inside the trachea. It is commonly seen in the glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve paralysis and anesthetizing pharynx with cocaine. Aerophagia is the swallowing of air along with the swallowing of the food bolus and liquids. It is commonly seen in the nervous individuals who have decreased tone of the upper esophageal sphincter. Upper esophageal sphincter it normally prevents entry of the air into the gastrointestinal tract, but whenever upper esophageal sphincter tone is decreased, it provides entry of the air inside the gastrointestinal tract. This swallowed air it gets regurgitated partly as belching, and most of it passes down to the colon and then expelled as a flatus through the anus. Eclasiocardia is the failure of the lower esophageal sphincter to relax completely on swallowing, and it is due to destruction of the local nerve plexus or decreased release of the vasoactive inhibitory peptide or nitric oxide at the neuronal endings. So food accumulates in esophagus and gradually it produces dilation of the esophagus proximal to the lower esophageal sphincter. Gastroesophageal reflux disease is because of the incompetence of the lower esophageal sphincter. So it results in the reflux of the gastric content inside the esophagus which produces heartburn and esophagitis. It can produce ulceration and the stricture inside the lower esophageal sphincter. Dysphagia is difficulty in swallowing due to any cause. Usually it occurs due to acute and severe pharyngitis. It can occur due to motor problems in pharynx and upper esophagus. or it can occur due to presence of the foreign body and acute inflammation in the oral cavity. So dysphagia is the difficulty in swallowing.